guys, I have tried 3 or 4 times to do a tutorial on my machine. My camera angles are so bad. I am just not good at this. And I was thinking about it. I remember going on to YouTube with my exact machine and seeing how they load the bobbin, how they troubleshoot issues, how they get the top thread threaded through, and they even have a manual on the particular manufacturer's website. So if you have any questions about how to use your sewing machine, I would highly recommend doing that, because like I said, I've tried like 3 or 4 times in a row now, and no matter what I do, I just get lost. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, because I've been doing it so much and I'm self-taught, it's hard. It's like hard to sit down and try to explain how you do something day in and day out. So try that, and I apologize because I know I've been telling people that I really wanted to get a tutorial out there, and I have girlfriends that have been wanting that, and it's just, I've tried 3 or 4 times and I'm like, I can't do this. So anyway, I'm going to show you the next step for your quilt. I've got all my squares laid out, and I'm very excited with the way it turned out. But I'm going to show you something that seems kind of silly. Here, let's get the light out of the way. There we go. It seems kind of silly, but it has helped me. I do this routine every single time because there have been several times that I've gone in and I will... is transpose the right thing? I'll like flip-flop my squares, and it won't be in the original design that I laid out because I'm just not paying attention, I'm not focusing. So if I do this particular routine every single time, I ensure that I'm not going to get my squares jumbled up. Does that make sense? So anyway, I will take a picture of my quilt layout because that's very handy to refer to in case you do get confused. This is just what I go through as a mom. I mean, it's just hard to concentrate on anything that doesn't have little kids attached to it. Okay, so there we go. I think you can see that pretty good. Turn the light on. There we go. All right, so what I do every single time is whatever square is at the tip top of my quilt is what I put at the top of my column or my row, whatever you want to call it. So I do it like this. And then I think to myself, okay, Batman is on top for this. So I now will take it and carry it to the sewing machine. This is when it starts to get really fun. Okay, so I've got these are all the squares that I just took out of my room, and I'm sitting at my machine, and again, I've got my Batman on top, and I just remember Batman is on top. And then I've got my second one, the little truck, and what I'm going to do is just imagine it being laid out, and you want them exactly together, like this. Okay? And you can do, I would recommend 3 or 4 pins across here. And I'm actually really glad that this is the first one that I'm doing because the truck is not going to allow me to pin it, so I'll show you what I do in that situation. Okay.
Actually, I don't.
Make sure I got it.
I definitely need this side.
There we go. So I've got 1 pin here. It's real important to pin the ends because once you have it going through the machine, it can get jumbled up at either the very beginning and especially at the end. Okay, see, I'm working around that truck a little bit here. Got room for a pin. Over here, I'm just gonna do it sideways. You see that? Just gonna do a sideways pin there. Okay. I have my stitch length on a number 3. Every machine is different, so I'm going to show you when I'm done exactly how long the stitches are. It doesn't have to be real short. You don't want it real long either, so it's kind of in the middle. And my tension is on a 5. I've just got it on a 5. That's pretty much where I leave it. And it's a 1/2 inch inseam. Now I'm going to run it through the machine and then I'll show you everything I just told you so you can see it. I don't do a back stitch at the beginning and the end to lock it in place because I'm going to do a perimeter stitch all around the entire blanket. Okay, I've got my foot down. All right, let me show you this. Okay, can you see that okay? I'm going to have, these are my tails. And what you do is you hold your tails, and I'm going to put this in at about a 1/2 inch. Sorry, I should have been showing you this before. Okay, and then there's my lever. I'm going to put my lever down. Can you see this good? And I'm going to hold my tails. I'm not going to pull on them. I'm just going to hold them in place so that if you don't hold them in place, this top thread right here will go bloop and run out, and then you got to rethread it and do it all over again. It's kind of a pain in the neck. Okay, so I'm going to hold them in place, and I'm going to go through. And again, this is a ballpoint needle for knit fabrics. It just makes it that much easier because I am all about easy.
And this is her tutorial. Okay, and that's me, Abby. And you might see me because I'm like,
okay, and
I
then
was born in her
okay,
first.
please stop.
Anyways.
Stop. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you everything I just told you. Here is my stitch length. Probably see it a little easier on here. Like I said, it's not real long, it's not real short, it's right in the middle. If I was doing like apparel, if I was doing something that I was going to wear, I would shorten it a little bit. If I was doing something just to hold it in place, I would do what's called a basting stitch, which is really long, and it's just to keep it in one spot. Okay, I've got my tails here, and I've got this here. I'm going to cut those. And again, this is about a 1/2 inch. Okay, you want to try to stay as close to a 1/2 inch as you can. And then you can take your pins out. And I leave my pins in at this point. The pins that I have actually holding the squares together. Now, if you've done the X, you're not going to have any pins in your fabric holding it together because you've already stitched it together. Does that make sense? But because I am just doing flannel, and there you go. You've got I've got 2 of my squares together. I'm going to go ahead and do a 3rd for kicks. Show you how to do this here. And I'm just going to line it up. I'm going to line up the top. I'm going to eyeball it and just make sure it looks good. And then I'm going to look at the bottom and see what the length is on both of these sides. This is going to be trial and error. If you've never done anything like this, it's just going to be trial and error. So see how the way it hangs? Okay, and then I'm going to pin it. I'll show you how I pin this. I'm going to do my ends. Because like I said before, the ends are really important because that seems to be where things get jumbled up. And you can adjust, no, stop. You can adjust it ever so slightly. Please stop. Okay. All right. Ta-da! There's 4 little pins right in there. I'm going to do this again so you can see it. Okay. Get your tails out of the way. So here's my tails. And then I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch. I've got a little extra fabric right here. So if you have a hard time getting through the fabric, it could be that you have a dull needle. It could be that you need to use your crank on the side of your machine, your manual crank.
It needs a break. Right, Mom? Or it could need a break.
It could need a break.
Because of Abby.
Alright, so we're doing 1/2 inch. My length is a 3. My tension is a 5. I'm just reminding you. And you just try to go as straight as you can. If you're a beginner, it's going to take some practice. That's okay. This is not about perfection. This is about special. It's amazing how forgiving people are when you do something special. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, not perfect. My reason's
Silly
not so
Lily.
perfect, but I hope he likes it.
I'm
It
sure.
cares how they love it.
And I'm going to take my
It
pins
cares
out and
how
I'll
they
show
thought of
you.
It cares. That's how. It cares how they thought of you. And that's the important thing.
And there's 3. And you're just going to do this all the way down the line for every, I do my columns first. So I do up and down first, and then I sew it sideways.
Hey, look,
Does that make sense? Keep asking. Does that make sense?
Sorry.
So here we go. So we'll just keep going, and the next tutorial that I do, I will have all of my columns sewn together, and then I'll show you how to put them together sideways, like the actual blanket. We're getting closer. So I hope you're having fun. I love doing this. This is like such a hobby, such a passion of mine, but also because it's my son's clothes. It's like so sweet. So anyway, hope that helps. Talk to you soon.